Hey guys, welcome back to Altaz-Review, where we talk about the biggest news in gaming. Just when we thought the year was coming to a close with no more big developments, the Game Awards left us all with one last bit of discourse. With so many tough competitors for Game of the Year, it's natural that not everyone would be happy with the winner. But the final winner was still pretty unexpected. So it looks like it's time to talk about the winner, the runner-ups, and what Game of the Year is supposed to be. Let's get right into it. The Game Awards gave us a lot to talk about. Each individual award was surprising, exciting, and well-deserved. Every developer, director, and artist got their chance to speak about their success, and this year, we were able to see more of the game-related announcements rather than a bunch of celebrities trying to get some PR. It's good to see that the Game Awards learned from last year's mistakes. There were also some amazing announcements for future games, so let's mention some of the games I personally am a bit more excited for. The number one announcement for me was seeing a real trailer for The Witcher 4. Seeing an older series being a true Witcher was amazing, and it also confirmed the canon ending for Witcher 3. If it were any other developer, I'd be scared about the possibility of forcing the woke agenda, but we can all trust CDPR to create a plot that focuses on true storytelling and character development. Plus, we already know how capable and amazing Ciri is. In other news, Elden Ring is now getting a spin-off that basically turns it into a Soulsborne Sekiro, by combining mechanics and even bosses from all the other From Software games. Elden Ring Night Rain is a co-op game with randomly generated enemy placement, map areas, and mechanics similar to some Battle Royale games without being a Battle Royale game itself, like reviving, gliding, and being able to use any weapon, meaning the RPG elements are not really a thing for this game. It sounds a little wacky, but depending on how canon it is, this could be a very fun step for From Software games, since this could be the new trend for multiplayer games. And we got some more detailed trailers for other games which we still know very little about. We got to see Mafia: The Old Country, a sequel for the game Okami, a new Ninja Gaiden game which seems to be similar to Blasphemous, and even Slay the Spire 2. Some of the new projects were really interesting too. The developers of games like Ico and Shadow of the Colossus are making a new game called Project Robot. There's also One Move Away, a game reminiscent of the game Moving Out, both which are centered around the calming action of packing or unpacking your stuff after moving. After that, we have Project Century by the devs of Yakuza, but the game really reminds me of Sleeping Dogs, a classic and underrated game that's never gotten a sequel. And finally, we got a trailer for a game called Intergalactic Heretic Prophet, an interesting game by Naughty Dog and the director by the same person who worked on Uncharted, Neil Druckmann. Just by the studio and director, we know it's a game worth keeping our eye on. All amazing news from the Game Awards, and even though most of them are announced for 2025, apparently no one wants to commit to the release date until we know exactly when GTA 6 is supposed to release. But as fun as these announcements were, let's get back to our main topic, the Game of the Year winner. Congratulations to Astro Bot for winning Game of the Year 2024. Like I said before, all the nominees were equally deserving of the title, and Astro Bot was no exception. But there's a lot to consider when comparing these kind of games. So let's just check off the games that wouldn't win Game of the Year for whatever reason. It looks like everyone's got a big problem with Balatro being nominated because it's a card game. Balatro clearly earned its spot in each award by being a truly fun game in the best way. But Balatro doesn't have much else other than being fun. In my eyes, Game of the Year should have a good balance of everything, and more so when there's so many other games that still have that fun factor while also having good story, animation, music, and so much more. Even though Balatro may not have lacked in most of these other genres, it did lack things like story, animation, and a few other things that other games do just a little bit better. Astro Bot itself is a game that matches that pure fun while being so much more than just a fun little game. But that's also where Astro Bot stops. Astro Bot may have so much going for it, but even still, it doesn't carry the same heights in story or even deep gameplay. That doesn't mean it lacks these things, but just that its story and gameplay kind of bottleneck. It's a short and sweet game that gives every player a feeling of nostalgia, genuine enjoyment, and leisure. But that shouldn't be enough for Game of the Year. Just like with all the older winners, inclusion doesn't mean being the best. Sure, everyone can play Astro Bot, but if some R-rated game has amazing gameplay and story, it would still win. Even something like Dark Souls or Elden Ring shouldn't win just for its abstract or artistic style. It still needs everything. No matter how good Astro Bot is, games like Final Fantasy Rebirth or Black Myth Wukong are still fun, engaging, and have amazing story and gameplay that gets deeper over time. I understand the confusion about Elden Ring DLC, so maybe its unique situation caused it to lose, and Metaphor Refantasio beat Final Fantasy VII Rebirth for Best RPG. So that probably means Metaphor has a leg up on Final Fantasy VII Rebirth in Game of the Year as well. But Black Myth Wukong even won the Player's Choice Award, and it doesn't even have the same argument about being too hard. Hard or not, every player has equally enjoyed Black Myth Wukong with its mechanics, story, lore, music, and even some of the more unique ideas. Just by seeing the other awards, I'd say Metaphor Refantasio or Black Myth Wukong should have won. By any calculation, without bias, for or against any particular type of game, Black Myth Wukong stayed ahead in pretty much every category and genre. Astro Bot won several awards, but its competitors were just genuinely more complete as games. Although I don't agree with the arguments many gamers are making, where they suggest that Astro Bot is an inferior kids game. If the other games were even slightly lacking in any area, Astro Bot would be a very fair winner. But as things stand, I think Astro Bot would lose against some of the other titles, even if only by a slight margin. Either by having a good balance of all elements or by being the absolute greatest and most innovative in one area, the Game of the Year needs to be true art even in the face of its competitors. Even in 2021, the nominees were just a little too simple. Thus, the unique It Takes Two was able to win with its great story, fun gameplay, and intelligent mechanics. And Astro Bot just hasn't reached that same potential. And even if it did, the nominees this year are much better and innovative than in 2021. Ultimately, I'll say that I think Black Myth Wukong should have won Game of the Year. But that doesn't mean Astro Bot stole the title or didn't deserve it. Astro Bot is still an impressive game, and the gaming community is not worse off for having a game like Astro Bot be Game of the Year in 2024. For now, let's just look forward to the next year. The Game Awards is still a fair award, and every other award was still well deserved. Hopefully, we'll have some huge titles next year that keep us on our toes and keep us arguing about what should be Game of the Year once again. Well, that's my opinion on this year's Game of the Year. It's still hard to say what's fair, but I'm not upset about seeing Astro Bot win the title. But let me know what you guys think about the winner and what game you think should have won. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. Until then, I hope I see you in the next video.